This is Mikael from Healthwise Enterprise Live, which you was looking at earlier for the first 5 or 10 minutes, 15 minutes. Was a recording. We talked about sciatica. So you can give me a call at 313-366-DIET. We can get more into that or get you a copy of that. If you want to stop by Healthwise, you might want to sit there and view it. Excuse me, that option is available too. Um, hmm, you might start doing that on a regular basis, doing the viewing of the shows at Healthwise. In the meantime, um, this is a subject matter that we all know, and one of the things I wanted to bring it to your attention is this processed food and how it's causing the increase in death rate by 62%, which means people are consciously or unconsciously checking out of here much sooner. Because if you know that the processed foods is harming you, why do people continue to consume it? And it's the same thing like cigarettes. They got skull, bones on the cigarette pack, let you know beyond shadow of a doubt it will kill you, and people still smoke. Not as much as they used to in America, but all over the world, it seems like they're smoking like crazy. It has something to do with what Hitler said. You tell the same lie over and over again, people start believing the lie. You see these commercials with all the fun that people are having with this ultra processed foods. Hey, one of the main things is to be happy, so folks want to be happy, so they get some of that processed foods and end up being ultimately unhappy. Unless there's some other things going on. But we tend to think we come here, we want to live and have our best life. And if folks is poisoning us unknowingly, that's one thing. But a lot of folks know that this there's poison in the air and the water and the food. Is what they don't know is what they can do about it. Well, it's like everything else. You have to ask your source, your creator, ask God, Allah, Ra, help me make better choices in my foods, in my food selection. Help me design a plan to eat foods that is healthy, that's alive, no matter how busy I am. Everybody got 168 hours per week. And rather than trying to get everything done in 24 hours per day, if we stretch it out over the 168 hours, it seems like it's a lot more manageable. And if we chunk it down, if you got a task, rather than trying to come up with a 8-hour chunk out of your life and have to sacrifice this, sacrifice that, just chunk it down into 1 hour. The 2 weeks, the month is going to come. If you did 1 hour a week, you're going to get the task done rather than being stressed out about it. And there's a will, there's a way. I mean, God has given us all these powers. I mean, we can't even figure out how to make a grain of dirt or sand. And God created a whole earth for us. And we're not going to go to our source and ask for help when we come up with these brainwashing techniques that got us going against our own natural desires, which is to live and have fun. Well, we get so stressed out trying to make some money when God is the source for happiness, for relationships, spiritual connection. It's just not just on Sundays we go to church and and feel that 1 hour or 2 hours of spirituality. It's about living in a constant state of spirituality. Living in a constant state of God being with you. Because He truly is. Just waiting on you to call and ask for help or assistance or wisdom or guidance. So we don't have to fall prey to this ultra processed food that increases the risk of death by 62%. Now, this is from Cola, one of my favorite rebels who do a lot of research. And just give you a list. You know what they are, but here we go. Ice cream. Ultra processed, not just beyond processed, ultra processed. I mean, you got the cow that if it's a grass-fed cow, leave them alone on the farm. He'll produce 2 or 3, maybe 4 gallons of milk a day. They got these cows with all these chemicals and drugs pumped into their system, producing 30, 40, 50 gallons per day. And they didn't wore out the nipples and pus and blood is all up in the milk. They clean it up with some more chemicals. Then they add the number 1 drug in this country, sugar, to it, and cook it and process it. Who knows all the steps that they do. Put this number 1 listed on here as the ultra processed food is ice cream. And me, myself, I have good memories of ice cream coming up. We did real good. It was hot like it was yesterday. And my father had some money. He would put us all in the car and go around up the street, a corner to this ice cream parlor where they made their own ice cream. Oh, it was so good. It was such a special treat. And eating ice cream now will bring those good feelings back to me. But I found out they are natural frozen desserts that's made from almonds that taste just as good. Yeah, they taste good without any chemicals or drugs in them. And so there's an alternative to this ultra-processed ice cream to a healthy ice cream. The difference is it costs more. But your body is worth over $6 billion. Why would we want to get the cheapest stuff we can consume? Is the goal just to fill the belly? Or is the goal is to live your life? Because our cells in our body can only make new cells based on the live food that we put into our system versus the ultra processed foods. As far as life, as far as chemicals, yes. And as far as shortening your lifespan, yes. Versus eating the ones that is healthy. And you're still getting the satisfaction. I still remember when every time I eat ice cream, those good times that we had with my family. And chocolate. They got healthy chocolate. We have it right at Healthwise at 3807 at Healthy Chocolate called Cocoa. And on the bulletin board, it's a list of all the benefits. I think it's CACAO. Because they used that in Maya times. I know probably way before that too, but it's a healthy food. But when these folks get through with it, it's an ultra-processed foods, which increases death rate by 62%. And number three they got on here is candy. Sugar, sugar, all three of those are sugar, sugar, sugar. Mass produced breads and buns. Mass produced, like at these fast food restaurants. They mass produce these breads and buns. When you can go to supermarkets and get gluten-free breads. Gluten is just a Latin word which means glue, and they take that and make bread with it, and then people consume it because it tastes good. You wouldn't go get you some glue and start, eating it, and folks used to sniff on it, but I never had nobody eating glue, but because they don't know when you eat that massive produced bread and buns, it's glue. They made glue taste good and made it addictive. It's like trying to take somebody's meat away, trying to take their bread away. They'll cut you, cut you, cut you, cut you. 4 different ways. What is it? Deep and cross. And the last one is continuously trying to take their bread away, take that meat away. To break those addictions, one of the key, strongest powers we have is our source, God. Margarine in spreads. Did you know flies won't even land on margarine? Now you put some butter out there, they'll tear that up. Put some margarine, some plastic, the flies won't touch it. I think it's 1 mineral difference between margarine and plastic. No wonder people eating these ultra-processed foods are dying quicker because it's not food. Hey, glue, plastics. Our bodies don't operate on glue and plastics. Powdered or packaged instant soups, noodles, and desserts. Ramen noodles, oodles and noodles. Powdered or packaged instant soups. Get you some hot water, pour that instant soup in there, and then you consume it. Tastes good. Fill you up for that afternoon so you don't have that hunger pain. Well, check this out. Hunger pain is a good thing. Hunger pain is a good thing. I have to write that down. That's what happens when you give God the glory. Hunger, I know this is off, this is straight up. Hunger pain is a good thing. The reason is, when your body is in pain from hunger, your body is actually living off of itself. And what it eats up first is the disease cells, because those are the weaker cells in the body. So when you're hungry, that's a good thing. Well, we've been taught that it's a bad thing. So they give you 4 meals a day. Breakfast, lunch, dinner, and then a midnight snack. Other day I was riding by a fast food restaurant, and I noticed in the morning, it'd be a line, 10, 12, sometimes 14 cars. And then sometime at noon, be the same thing, 10, 12, 14 cars. But this time, it was late at night, 12, 1 o'clock. Guess what? 10, 12, 14 cars in line to get this fast food. Because our people don't know that our body need rest. The hunger is a good thing. Pastries. everywhere. Pastries, part of the group of ultra-processed foods. Cakes and cake mix. So what they're saying is that when grandma took the time to um, make that real cake, when she would sit down in a chair and just turn it with her big old spoon and muscles, that was exercise for her. And that was a chance for her to put the love into that cake, okay, as she was turning it. And you could feel the love in the whole kitchen. So you know it was in that cake. You couldn't wait for it to come out the oven so you can get you a piece of it. And that love energy that's in that cake, it sure ain't in these cakes and cake mixes made by some machines. Breakfast cereals, another source of sugar, and what we call gluten foods. Cookies, energy bars, energy drinks. Ooh wee. Now we're not gonna get into too details, but this is just a list so you could be aware. They are healthy drinks without the chemicals in it. We have one at Healthwise at 3807. It's called Rebound. Compared to the energy drinks, which may have 10, 15 different nourishments in it, ours, the Rebound, have over 120 nourishments in it, and it gives you the energy. So it's a twofer. Gives you the energy and give you the nourishments. So it's not clogging up your system, and it's not contributing to speeding up your life here on the planet, causing you to prematurely age, or causing you to be 62%, or be in that bracket where 62% of deaths increase from eating and drinking these energy bars. I mean, drinking these energy drinks and eating these energy bars. Fruit yoga, sugar. Fruit drinks is a lot more safer and healthier. Is get you some water from Healthwise, cut you up some fruit, put it in that water for at least 5 minutes, and you got you a fruit drink that doesn't have any chemicals in it, and it's fresh. See, I love the taste of water, but some people like a fruit drink. Well, it's nothing like making your own, because then you know what's in it. And you can put you some raw sugar in it, the turbinado sugar in it, agave, some honey, molasses. God has given us a lot of natural sweeteners. Now, he don't come on commercials, and he don't put it in every fast food place, but it is available on the planet. We have to do our due diligence to find it and have it with us. It's all of those packages you can keep in your purse or in your glove box. So it's with you. And if you out and about and you get you some coffee, you got you some raw sugars or some turbinado sugar, some sweeteners in the car. Get up and go get it. It's a little exercise. Coca-Cola drinks. Do you know they take 38 state troopers use Coca-Cola to clean up after a major accident, and they use Coca-Cola to clean their engines. It's one of the best form of acid to clean out the dirt and grime and grease off their engines. That's what they use Coca-Cola for. And then people turn back around and drink it. Again, you can see once you get into the details why people consume this type of ultra-processed foods, that they increase the risk of death by 62%. And who consuming this? Folks is in their 20s and their 30s, maybe even the 40s. Those are the folks that's having more diseases than other folks that's in their 50s and 60s and 70s. These folks getting these diseases and so much sooner because they're consuming ultra processed foods and not taking the effort and time. See, it's very important to spend that first 15 minutes when you wake up and that last 15 minutes before you go to sleep with God. That's our source. To stay plugged in. So when they project these lies, we have the Constitution to say, no, you are not my source. God has provided foods for me, just like he do all the other animals on the planet. Okay? These birds, they singing like crazy in the springtime, but they here all year long. All year. God got them and he got us too. We his favorite more so than some bird. Instant sauces. I know my father used to make his own barbecue sauce. His mama, my grandma, made her own barbecue sauce. Making it with honey. Making it with cayenne pepper. Making it with your own herbs and spices, your tomatoes. Without the preservatives in it so you can consume it. It takes more time, but you have more time because you're not into that 62% of people that's dying prematurely. So you have more time. Instant baby formulas. Now you know we have to be really out of touch or sleep or something to give your brand new baby some instant baby formulas. What is the mindset? What is the brainwashing that they put on a person that they would take some tap water and mixing it with some powders and give it to their brand new baby? And ready to heat products. Yeah, they ready to heat and they taste good. But what's the outcome? Planning your meals on Sunday rather than watching some television to get more indoctrinated into the program, which end up taking so much life away from you. Because before the death, there's suffering. Your diet is a key factor in healthy and longevity. Undoubtedly, there is a serious health epidemic in the United States, and the majority of it is linked to his diet, which means we are in control because we are the final say of what goes into our bodies. There is no quick fix, there's no easy answers. It is critical to remember what you eat is the foundation on which your health is built, and eating a processed food diet is a recipe for long-term disasters. So before you die prematurely, you in a long-term disaster, sick, diseased. It's so important to live this way and maybe even share just an inkling of it with somebody else. Each one teach one. If you have access to real food, it is important to take the time to learn to cook from scratch and make the most of leftovers. With a bit of dedication and planning, remember the 168 hours a week that each one of us have taken time to plan, it is also possible to grow, produce, at home in small places, including indoors. It's nothing like having a little garden indoors. You can grow some of your herbs. Or if you have a porch, you can actually grow your own foods. My father had a little garden by the shed in the back. And those tomatoes that would come out of there, we couldn't wait to get to them because it was so good. And it was grown with love. And there are, with the internet and Google and things like that, you can put in there, what foods can I grow indoors? How do I take care of it? What foods do I give the foods? Have all this information to take it to our advantage to live a healthier, more fun, rich life for not only for ourselves, but the people who care about us. Our mom and daddy, teachers, preachers, brothers, sisters, children, grandchildren, great-grandchildren, great-great-grandchildren, great-great-great-great-great. It continues on. Those folks care about us. And we can share that wisdom with them. Well, we can be like the folks that live to be 120, 140. There are 5 societies that do that. One of them I know is Titicaca. Another group lives in the Himalayas. That's possible. If one person can do it, God put it in them. He didn't discriminate. He gave it that same power to each and every one of us. Eating a diet of 90% real food and 10% or less processed food is achievable and make a significant difference in weight management and your overall health. See, if you eat 90% good real foods, you want to hang out with your friends and eat some of this ultra-processed food, that's only 10%. It's not going to put you in that 62% tile of people who die prematurely or people that suffer from diseases. And it's important to break bread with your family and friends. Now, when you get home, so we have that oxy powder that is key for getting those poisons out of your system. It is one of the strongest, easiest ways to get the poisons out. People usually take like 4 pills at night, 3 hours after their last meal. So they're hungry, and the body is now living off the disease cells that's in their body because those are the weaker cells. They didn't drink the water in the daytime based on their body weight. For every 2 pounds they weigh 1 ounce of water. So the colon is lubricated. So the body is primed to get the poisons out. Now they take 40 oxy powder. They wake up in the morning and they had that major dumping that's 1, 2, sometimes 3 or 4 feet long. Got a footstool so the knees is above the anus. In that squat position, doing the deep breathing. You're getting the poisons out. That 10% of them poisons you ate that break bread with your friends is now coming out. Eating a diet of 90% real food and 10% or less processed food is achievable and make a significant difference in weight management or overall health. Okay? So that's the good part. Now, the bad part, here we go. In one of 2 recent published studies, researchers found eating more than 4 servings of ultra-processed food, such as chocolate, breads, cakes, fruit, yogurts, increased risk of premature death by 62%. During a 15-year study, 335 deaths occurred, majority of which were from cancer. Ultra-processed food increases your risk of obesity, which increases your risk of cancer, type 2 diabetes, cardiovascular diseases, and gallstones. Another recent study found ultra-processed food increased risk of cardiovascular diseases. Although the rate of cancer unrelated to obesity declined by 13% over a 9-year period, the rate of obesity related cancer rose by 7% in that same time period. While there are no quick and easy answers, it is critical to remember that what you eat is the foundation of your health. If you have access to real food, it's important to learn to cook from scratch and make the most of your leftovers. If you stop at Healthwise, 3807 East 8 Mile Road, about 3 blocks west of Ryan, we have a list of about 10 different key steps that your cells need to make a new and strong and healthy, vibrant cell. The National Institute of Diabetes and Digestive and Kidney Diseases defines overweight and obesity as a person whose weight is higher than what is considered normal, adjusted for their height. Okay. An adult is considered obese if their body mass index is 30 or higher. Recent studies only reinforce what scientists and researchers already know. Obesity rates are higher and climbing. We know that. They make stadiums now with bigger seats because we got bigger butts to go into those seats. According to the state obesity, there are striking and persistent radical and ethnic disparities. According to data from the National Health and Nutrition Examination Survey in 2014, more than 33% of individuals were considered overweight. There's over 300 million people in this country, and over 100 million is overweight. By 2016, that percentage has rose to almost 40% in this country, from 33 to 40%. The World Health Organization reported that worldwide, obesity has tripled since 1975. Tripled. And where has these fast food places gone? Worldwide. In 2016, more than 1.9 billion adults were overweight. It's almost 2 billion adults, and it's with over 8 billion people on this planet. So that's what, about 25% of the people on the planet is overweight. These are the highest rates documented. So we're heading in the wrong direction as a people. The higher percentage of adults with obesity were from 40 to 59 years old, and women 20 years and older. So in their 20s are now being obese. According to the state obesity, rates increased in 6 states between 2016 and 17 and remained stable in the rest of the United States. West Virginia had the highest adult obesity rate of 38.1% of the population, while obesity rates were at least 30% in 29 other states. The American Academy of Family Physicians report on the links found between increased obesity in adults and socioeconomic factors such as education, rural versus urban living, income levels. In all cases, The report showed individuals with the highest education living in urban or metropolitan areas or with income 400% or greater than the federal poverty level had the lowest rate of obesity. They paid the same amount of foods, so they eat better. It's like the sister said, people would do better if they knew better. It's called applied action. So from what I hear, food in this country is still affordable and it's cheap. But that's not the source. Our source is God. Yeah, that just go to show you, folks who got money, they used to be big and round 100-something years ago, but they didn't got wise. Well, we can be wise. Two recent studies published in the MBJ have linked eating ultra-processed foods with a significant increase in the rate of death and cardiovascular diseases. While you may suspect boxed foods or convenient store snacks are foods on the ultra-processed list, you may be surprised to learn that many foods touted as healthy are also ultra-processed. 4 servings of ultra-processed food increase the risk of death. Just 4 servings. Research sought to evaluate the association between an ultra-processed diet and the risk of all-cause mortality. To that end, they gathered data from almost 20,000 participants from 1999 to 2014. They followed up with the participants every 2 years to gather data on foods and drink consumptions and classify the food eaten according to the degree of process using the NOVA classification system. NOVA classification food categories according to the extent and purposes of processing rather than in terms of nutrients found in the food. NOVA is recognized as a vital tool for nutritional and public health research and used in reports from the United Nations and Pan-American Health Organizations. NOVA categorization has initiated when research realized the significance of industrial processed foods on human health was far understated in research. The research's main outcome measure was an association between ultra-processed foods and all causes of mortality. Participants were categorized into eating low, medium, medium high, or high consumption of ultra-processed foods. The researchers found that those in the highest quarters eating greater than 4 servings of ultra-processed foods each day had the greatest risk for all causes of mortality compared to those in the lowest quarter. This goes to show you, just eating 4 of those foods, the ultra-processed foods, puts you in the 62% rate of increasing your death. You are what we eat. During the 15-year study, 365 people died, okay? For every additional serving of ultra-processed food, all-cause mortality rate increased by 18%. They concluded eating 4 or more servings of ultra-processed foods was independently associated with 62% relatively increased risk for all causes of death. Eating 4 servings of this ultra-processed foods increase your risk of death by 62%. They also found those in the group with the highest consumption that had higher than average body mass index were more likely to be current smokers and have a history of cardiovascular diseases, diabetes, depression. In addition, they were also more likely to snack and use computers for long periods of time. The main cause of death was cancer at a mean age of 58. Sitting at a computer eating snacks. What's the purpose? You get on the computer because everything go fast, 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 including your life. If you own a computer, use it for your benefits, like what foods will promote life and what foods will promote death. So we gave us some solutions at first because we all know about this harm. These ultimate, what you call it, Salmon Oil Plus, we all need this every day. If it's not in this form, okay, I'm talking about omega-3, if it's not in this form, at least get it in your fish or your seeds, like your hemp seed, your chia seed, your flaxseed. You can get all those at Healthwise, 3807 East 8 Mile Road. This here, the sunflower lecithin, is excellent food for the brain. It breaks up cholesterol. You know how water and oil doesn't mix? Well, our bodies is 75% water. Well, when you have that oil, processed, greasy foods in your body clogging up your arteries and veins because of the plaque, well, lecithin is an emulsifier. So it breaks up that oil. Because your body makes cholesterol. God got your body making cholesterol. So it's a good thing. We just need more lecithin to break up the cholesterol so it can be used for what God intended it to be used for. When you take those pills to get cholesterol out of your body, it doesn't discriminate. It takes it out of your brain. And your brain is 20% lecithin. And that 20% lecithin is good for memory, independence, learning how to drive, and getting back home safely. So these are just some shortcuts, because you're supposed to get lecithin from eggs. But when you crack open the egg, it should have an orange-yellow tint to it. That let you know that it was that egg was grown on a farm where they fed the chickens grass and foods that it can use. When you crack it open and it's a bright yellow, I don't know what that egg is. Because, see, to go from an egg to a chicken take 14 weeks. These guys with the growth hormones doing it in 4 weeks. So the eggs out of those is questionable. It's your choice. Give us a call at 313-366-DIET. You can also call us at 586-757-DIET. Again, it's 586-757-3438. And you can also call me on the cell, 313-600-8532. But give us a visit, and we'll give you a hug at 3807 East 8 Mile Road. That's about 3 blocks west of Ryan, between Ryan and DeQuinta. You can get a hug anywhere. 5 hugs a day is healing. That's the power God has given us. It's about exercising our God-given gifts. Thank you for tuning in. Look forward to seeing you and getting that hug. Take care. Peace and love.